What's up, everyone? Coming at you with 6 NCAA basketball picks for Friday, February 23rd. Coming at you with a morning video fresh off an awesome night where we went 5-1 with the only loss being Washington -2.5 and a very bad beat. We're posting daily NCAA basketball videos, so hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our college basketball and NBA videos. These picks are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com, where you can get all of our best picks and predictions on every major sport. Don't forget to comment below with any questions, opinions, or bets on today's college basketball slate. I read and respond to every single comment. Now let's dive into our first game of the day. Kent State versus Akron. Kent State has not been having a very good time lately. They're only 5-5 over their last 10. They did play a relatively competitive game against Ohio, but they also lost to Troy recently in a blowout. Things just haven't been going that well for the Golden Flashes. Kent State is not very good on the boards or defensively. Jalen Sullinger is good, but not amazing. They're coming off a 6-point loss to Ohio. Their last game against Akron, they lost 77-71. Playing at Kent State, so they were at home for that game. That can't feel very good coming into this matchup. They lost the rebound battle in that game by 10 and hugely got the benefit of the whistle, shooting 29 free throws, and they lost the game despite that and making 9 3-pointers. This squad is not on the level of the top teams in the MAC. I think they're going to have a pretty hard time finishing out the season, especially their last game of the year, which is at Toledo. Akron just lost to Toledo in a battle for the top spot in the MAC, so now those two teams are tied atop this very interesting conference. Akron got almost nothing from their bench in the loss and just generally didn't play up to their normal standard in one of their most important games in the regular season. Akron is normally an elite shooting team, and they will have by far the best player on the court in this matchup in Enrique Freeman, who is shooting almost 60% from the field and scoring almost 20 points per game. I expect Akron to dominate the boards at home in this one as well. Akron's -7.5 in this one. They're 7-2 against the spread when they're playing at home. Kent State is only 4-6 against the spread on the road. We are hammering it on Akron in this one. Like them a lot in this spot. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of points, but in a bounce back spot for them and against a pretty weak opponent, I think they get the job done here by double digits. Next up, we see the Marist Red Foxes heading to Manhattan to take on the Jaspers. Marist comes into this game playing pretty well. They've won 4 in a row, so kind of their best stretch in conference play right now. Marist just demolished Canisius very early in the season. The Red Fox got a comfortable 70-56 win over Manhattan. This team plays very elite defense. They're not that good on the boards though, which is something of a concern, but against a weak opponent, I don't think we have to be too worried about that. Offensively, this team has been bad all season, but they've seen a big uptick recently, which is a huge deal as long as their defense can keep being so good. If they get a big offensive boost, some small changes in their system, all of a sudden they're going to be a very good team. The squad doesn't have a big star, so we don't have to worry about one player having an off night and ruining this whole pick for us. So right now, Marist is looking pretty good. Manhattan has dropped 6 in a row and just got obliterated by Ryder. We've got nothing positive to say about this team. Like, their offense is horrible, their defense is horrible, their rebounding stinks. Up and down the roster, there's not a lot of talent. They are not keeping games close against anyone in the top half of the conference, and they're one of the worst teams in the MAC. If you're looking for a good game for Manhattan, you have to go all the way back several weeks ago against Niagara. I'm not really seeing any other good games. Like, they got that one win. What is their other conference win even? It's against Mount St. Mary's, like at the very beginning of the season. So we're not afraid of Manhattan at all in this one. We're taking the Marist Red Foxes, who are a startling 9-4 against the spread on the road. They're -7.5 in this game, which feels like kind of a lot of points, but not the way Marist is playing right now. So give us Marist, the Red Foxes, in this one. Next up, we're headed to the Ivy Leagues. We've got Princeton against Harvard. Princeton has been playing pretty well. They're fresh off a win over Yale, which is a little bit of a concern actually, because that leaves them in a bit of a letdown spot. But right now, Princeton is sitting in 2nd place in the Ivy, and finishing atop the Ivy in the regular season is a huge deal. The Tigers' offense is very solid. Their defense is very good. The last time they played Harvard, it was an absolute blowout, with Princeton winning that game by 31 points. Pretty impressive there. We see Xavier Lee as an absolute monster. He's scoring 18 points a game on nearly 50% shooting from the field. This squad can dominate the boards, especially in this game. They're not a massive rebounding team, but they are good enough that they're going to do very well against Harvard. Right now, Princeton is playing their absolute best ball of the season. Harvard is terrible, and they're coming off a win, so that's a great letdown spot for them. They just took down Columbia. We don't really care about that. It's only a 5-point win against a Columbia team. That's nothing to write home about. Malik Mack is a monster, but when he's your only good offensive player, it's easy for the opposing team to focus on shutting him down. This team is not good on the boards. Their defense is terrible. This team is not going to be playing in the postseason. They don't have anything to really be playing for at this point, so their motivation could be a little bit of a concern. Like, if you're going to Harvard, how much do you really care about about the basketball once you know you're not going to be making the tournament or anything like that. Maybe it's time to focus on school. We're looking at Princeton -7 as our pick in this one. Harvard has been absolutely atrocious against the spread playing at home this year, where they're only 3-8 overall. Yeah, pretty bad. We're taking Princeton in this one. Next up, we've got the Fairfield Stags heading to Quinnipiac to take on the Bobcats. Fairfield comes into this game fresh off a win over Mount St. Mary's. This team is not very good on defense. They're also pretty lackluster on the boards, which is a big concern. They lost by 2 at home to Quinnipiac earlier in the season. This game was very close because the Bobcats played absolutely terrible, but Fairfield got obliterated on the boards. We kind of expect to see something similar happen in this one. We've got Quinnipiac coming into this game fresh off back-to-back losses. They lost at Mount St. Mary and just got destroyed at home against Niagara. That's a pretty big concern. Matt Blanc is a monster, putting up 18.5 points per game. Savion Lewis is also very solid with almost double-digit scoring and 7.3 assists per game. That's pretty good numbers. This team doesn't get a massive amount of assists, so he's accounting for like half of their assists. The rebounding edge definitely goes to Quinnipiac in this one. The defensive edge also goes to Quinnipiac. I think this team is just better up and down. Against the spread trends, we don't see anything too startling. Fairfield is only 6-7 against the spread on the road, so I guess that's something. Quinnipiac is 7-5 against the spread at home, and they do have the edge, having won in this matchup earlier this season. Give me Quinnipiac -3 at home. This won't be my biggest play of the day, but it's definitely going to be on the list. Next up, we're headed to the Horizon League. We've got Purdue-Fort Wayne heading to Green Bay to take on the Phoenix. Purdue-Fort Wayne hasn't been anything special, really. They just won against the Hospital, against Detroit Mercy. This squad is not very good. They are an offense only and all the time. Sure, they put up 81 points per game, but they play very little defense. Somehow their rebounding is still not very good despite playing at such a high pace. They're coming off a blowout win, so this is a bit of a letdown spot. They're only 3-3 over the last 6 overall. Purdue-Fort Wayne actually won in this matchup earlier in the season, but it was super early, guys. Like, it was in the first few weeks, so this is not like a big, that doesn't have any relevancy anymore. We see Jalen Jackson as a monster, and so is Rasheed Bello, but are they really going to be able to come up big against the Green Bay Phoenix, who come into this game fresh off a very annoying single-point loss to NKU? Noah Reynolds is one of the best players in the conference. Phoenix is in second place in the Horizon League. They are fighting for that top spot. This team plays amazing defense. They have a superstar scorer, which we were just talking about, and he's going to be in for a big night going against a terrible defense. Green Bay actually beat Oakland earlier this season, which is a big accomplishment in the Horizon League. Oakland has been nearly unstoppable. They were one of our picks that we got right last night. We are looking at Green Bay in this one. We definitely like them quite a bit. They're 8-2 against the spread playing at home. That's definitely a trend we're more than happy to back. We're taking Green Bay -3 playing at home in this one. Our last game of the night, we've got Nevada heading to San Jose State. Nevada is coming off 2 solid wins, and they're looking to prove that they deserve an NCAA bid. This team has some big, very good wins on their resume over ranked opponents. They've had some stretches where they've played incredibly well. This squad is elite offensively, and they're very solid on defense. They're just a super talented roster up and down. Jared Lucas is very good. Keenan Blackshear is actually a monster, scoring 15 per game and having almost 5 assists. They're just very good. They have a blowout win over San Jose State earlier in the season. They won by 30 points. This is a little bit of a look-ahead spot for the Wolfpack, though. They play Colorado State next, so that's going to be a huge game for them, but I still think they are in a good spot here. San Jose only wins in conference this season have come against Air Force. This squad is absolutely terrible. They did just play a relatively close game against Wyoming, but Wyoming is pretty far down there in the standings too. This team is not good on the boards. They're terrible rebounding. They're very bad defensively. They don't have any size or any like super meaningful talent. They only have a single game keeping it within 10 points against the better opponents in the conference. The Mountain West has been a very tough conference, and San Jose and Air Force are the ones, they're by far at the bottom. They're the worst teams in the conference. We see Nevada only -10. I think the odds makers are really leaning on this being a letdown spot for the Wolfpack, but I'm not buying it. I think even if they don't play up to their like top capabilities, they still win this game by 15 or 20. Nevada is 5-3 against the spread on the road, and San Jose State is only 5-7 against the spread at home. So we're definitely happy with the Wolfpack -10 in this one. That's all of our games for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or comments about these picks or today's slate, and check out stumpthespread.com to see all of our top plays. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more NCAA basketball action.